Welcome to our channel Success with Maya. The mistake that keeps smart people broke, Jim Rohn style speech. Most people think poverty is caused by lack of intelligence. But history tells a very different story. Some of the smartest minds, the most educated individuals, and the most talented people in the world still struggle financially. Why? Because there is one silent mistake that keeps smart people broke. They confuse knowledge with action. Let me tell you something important. Information alone does not create success. You can read every book on wealth, attend every seminar, and still remain financially stuck if you do not apply what you learn. That is the mistake. Smart people often become collectors of ideas instead of builders of results. A person says, I know how to invest, but they never invest. Another says, I understand business strategy, but they never start a business. Knowing is not the same as doing, and doing is where wealth begins. The real problem is comfort in learning without execution. It feels productive to learn. It feels safe. You can sit, study, and imagine success without risking failure. But growth does not live in comfort. Growth lives in action, uncertainty, and discipline. Another mistake smart people make is overthinking. They analyze every possibility until they are paralyzed. They want perfect timing, perfect conditions, and perfect plans. But perfection is an illusion. The world rewards those who start imperfectly and improve along the way. Let me be clear, you do not need more information. You need more implementation. You do not need another strategy. You need consistency with the strategy you already know. Look at financially successful people. They are not always the smartest in the room, but they are often the fastest to act. They make decisions, they adjust, and they keep moving. While others are still planning, they are already learning from real experience. And here is another hidden trap: pride. Smart people sometimes feel they must already know everything before starting. But success is not about knowing everything. It is about learning while doing. Every expert was once a beginner who refused to stay still. Money does not respond to intelligence alone. Money responds to value creation, execution, and persistence. The marketplace does not pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do with what you know. So what is the solution? Start small, but start now. Apply one idea today instead of collecting 10 more. Take imperfect action. Make mistakes and learn quickly. Build momentum, because momentum creates opportunity. Discipline is the bridge between knowledge and wealth. Without discipline, knowledge becomes entertainment. With discipline, knowledge becomes power. And remember this: your financial future is not determined by what you have learned in the past. It is determined by what you decide to do from this moment forward. So don't fall into the mistake that keeps smart people broke. Stop learning without doing. Stop planning without acting. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Because success does not belong to the smartest person. It belongs to the one who acts. Most people spend their lives collecting information, believing that knowledge alone will change their financial situation. They read books, attend seminars, watch videos, and listen to advice from successful people. Yet, despite all this learning, many still find themselves in the same place year after year. Why? Because there is a gap between knowing and doing, and that gap is where most dreams go to die. Let me be very clear about something important. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes real power only when it is applied. You can know everything about fitness, but if you never exercise, your body will not change. You can understand every principle of business, but if you never start or improve anything in the real world, your bank account will not reflect your knowledge. Life responds to action, not information. The mistake most people make is believing that learning equals progress. It feels like progress. It feels productive. You sit down, you learn something new, and for a moment you feel like you are moving forward. But real progress is not what you know. It is what you do with what you know. That is where transformation happens. Think about it this way: information is everywhere today. Anyone can access knowledge instantly. But if knowledge alone were enough, everyone with a smartphone would be successful. That is not the case. The difference is not access to information, but the willingness to act on it. Action separates dreamers from achievers. Many people fall into the trap of endless preparation. They say, I just need to learn a little more before I start. So they read another book, take another course, or wait for the right time. But the truth is, there is never a perfect time. There is only now, and those who succeed are the ones who start before they feel ready. Let me share a simple truth. Clarity comes from action, not from thinking. You do not figure life out completely in your mind. You figure it out by doing. When you take action, you get feedback. That feedback sharpens your understanding. Then you adjust, improve, and move again. This cycle is how success is built. The problem with overlearning without action is that it creates illusion. You begin to feel smarter, but not stronger. You feel informed, but not transformed. And slowly, you become comfortable in theory while remaining poor in practice. Success is not a library of ideas. It is a pattern of execution. The people who succeed are not necessarily those who know the most, but those who consistently apply what they know. Even small actions, when repeated, create massive results over time. You don't need perfect knowledge to start. You need courage. Courage to take the first step without guarantees. Courage to make mistakes and learn from them. Courage to look foolish in the beginning so you can become wise in the long run. Every successful person you admire once stood where you are now, uncertain, inexperienced, and full of questions. The difference is, they did not wait until they had all the answers. They acted with what they had. And in that action, they grew. Another important truth is that knowledge without action can even become dangerous. It can lead to overconfidence without results. You start believing you are ahead simply because you know more. But life does not reward knowledge alone. It rewards outcomes. And outcomes only come through execution. If you want financial success, you must shift your identity from a learner only to a doer. A learner collects, but a doer builds. A learner prepares, but a doer produces. A learner talks about ideas, but a doer brings ideas to life. There is a simple formula that governs success. You learn, apply, adjust, repeat. Not learn, learn, and wait. The application step is the most important one. Yet it is the step most people avoid because it involves risk, discomfort, and uncertainty. But here is the truth. Growth always requires discomfort. You will never feel completely ready. You will never have zero fear. You will never have all the answers. But you can still move forward, and movement creates momentum. Once you start applying what you learn, something powerful happens. You begin to understand deeper than any book can teach you. Experience becomes your greatest teacher, and experience only comes from action. So the real question is not how much you know. The real question is, what are you doing with what you already know? Because what you already know is enough to take your first step. And that first step is what separates your current life from your future one. If you want to break the cycle of staying stuck, stop waiting for more information. Start using the information you already have. Because in the real world, execution is the bridge between knowledge and wealth, between learning and living, between dreams and reality. Overthinking is one of the most silent killers of success. It does not announce itself loudly. It does not look like failure at first. In fact, it often looks like responsibility, intelligence, and careful planning. But in reality, it becomes a mental prison that keeps people stuck in the same place for years, while life keeps moving forward without them. Many people believe that thinking more will lead to better results. They assume that if they analyze every possible outcome, eliminate every risk, and plan every detail perfectly, then success is guaranteed. But life does not reward endless thinking. Life rewards action followed by adjustment. When thinking replaces action, progress stops. The truth is, most opportunities in life are not perfectly clear when they first appear. They are uncertain, a little messy, and sometimes even risky. But that is exactly what makes them opportunities. If everything were obvious and safe, everyone would already be doing it, and there would be no reward left in it. Overthinking creates a dangerous illusion, the illusion of control. A person feels like they are making progress because they are mentally engaged, constantly planning, constantly evaluating. But in reality, nothing is being built. Nothing is being tested. Nothing is being learned from the real world. It is all happening in the mind, not in life. And here is something important to understand. The mind can become a trap when it is not balanced with action. The more you think without doing, the more complicated everything becomes. Simple decisions start to feel heavy. Small risks start to feel dangerous. And before long, even basic steps feel overwhelming. Successful people do not eliminate fear through thinking. They eliminate fear through action. Because fear grows in silence and uncertainty, but it shrinks when confronted. The longer you sit and think about something without acting, the bigger it becomes in your imagination. One of the biggest consequences of overthinking is delay. People delay decisions because they want more clarity. They delay starting because they want more confidence. They delay opportunities because they are waiting for perfect timing. But delay has a cost. Every day spent thinking without acting is a day of lost experience, lost learning, and lost progress. Life does not wait for perfect decisions. It responds to movement. When you move, even imperfectly, life gives you feedback. That feedback becomes your guide. But when you stay stuck in thinking, you get no feedback, only more questions. Another hidden danger of overthinking is paralysis. A person can reach a point where they think so much that they become unable to act at all. Every option seems risky. Every path seems uncertain. Every decision feels like it could lead to failure. So instead of choosing, they freeze. And in that freeze, nothing changes. But here is a powerful truth. You do not need perfect clarity to begin. Clarity is not the starting point. It is the result of starting. You become clear by doing, not by waiting to feel clear before doing. Think about how success actually works in real life. People rarely succeed because they had a perfect plan from the beginning. They succeed because they took a step, learned from it, adjusted, and took another step. Over time, those steps create direction. But that direction only appears after movement begins. Overthinking also steals confidence. Every time you think too much without acting, you begin to doubt yourself more. You start questioning your ability. You start imagining negative outcomes that may never even happen. And slowly, your belief in yourself weakens. Confidence is not built in thought. Confidence is built in action. Every time you act and survive the outcome, your confidence grows. But if you only think and never act, Confidence has nothing to grow from. There is also another problem: opportunity has a limited window. Many of the best opportunities in life are time sensitive. They do not stay open forever. While a person is overthinking, analyzing, and trying to eliminate every risk, someone else is already taking action, learning, and moving forward. And once that opportunity is gone, no amount of thinking can bring it back. The irony is that overthinking is often disguised as intelligence. People believe they are being smart by being cautious. But wisdom is not the absence of risk. Wisdom is the ability to take the right risk at the right time and learn from it quickly. In life, action creates intelligence. You do not think your way into experience. You act your way into experience. And experience is what builds real understanding. Without it, thinking remains theoretical, disconnected from reality. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is the habit of quick decision making followed by adjustment. This does not mean being careless. It means refusing to get trapped in endless mental loops. It means trusting that you can figure things out as you move forward. Every successful person has learned this lesson: imperfect action beats perfect inaction. A wrong step can be corrected. A delayed step cannot be recovered. So the real shift is simple but powerful. Instead of asking, what is the perfect decision? Start asking, what is the next step I can take right now? That question breaks the cycle of overthinking and moves you into action. Because in the end, success does not belong to the person who thinks the most. It belongs to the person who moves the fastest from thinking to doing, learns quickly, and keeps going even when things are not perfect. One of the most important truths in life is that intelligence alone does not guarantee success. Many people believe that if they are smart enough, educated enough, or talented enough, they will automatically achieve wealth and success. But life does not work that way. In reality, execution is far more powerful than intelligence, and action will always outperform potential that is never used. You can find highly intelligent people who struggle financially, and you can find average thinkers who build extraordinary success. The difference is not the level of intelligence. It is the level of execution. What separates the two is not what they know, but what they consistently do with what they know. Execution means turning ideas into reality. It means taking what exists in your mind and bringing it into the physical world through action. Many people have brilliant ideas, but ideas alone have no value until they are applied. An idea becomes valuable only when it is tested, refined, and used to create something meaningful in the real world. The marketplace does not reward thinking, it rewards results. No one pays you for what you intend to do. You are paid for what you actually deliver, and delivery comes only through execution. That is why two people can have the same knowledge, but completely different financial outcomes. One acts, and the other only thinks. A major misunderstanding is that intelligence is the key to success. Intelligence can help you understand things faster, but it cannot force you to act. In fact, sometimes intelligence without discipline becomes a disadvantage. A smart person can overanalyze, overthink, and delay action because they can imagine too many outcomes. Meanwhile, a less analytical person may simply act, learn, and adjust along the way, and that process often leads to real success. Execution builds experience, and experience builds mastery. You cannot become skilled in anything without doing it repeatedly. Reading about business does not make you a business owner. Studying leadership does not make you a leader. Only leading, making decisions, facing consequences, and adjusting your approach builds true leadership ability. Many people stay stuck because they believe they need more preparation before they start. They think they must understand everything before taking action. But in reality, clarity comes after action, not before it. You do not get clarity in advance. You earn it through experience. And experience only comes from execution. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They acted before they felt ready. They did not wait for perfect conditions. They did not wait for complete confidence. They stepped forward with uncertainty and adjusted as they moved. That willingness to act, despite not having full certainty, is what created their success. Execution also builds momentum. The moment you start acting, even in small ways, you begin to create movement in your life. And movement generates energy. That energy turns into momentum. And momentum makes progress easier over time. But if you stay in the thinking stage too long, nothing moves, and without movement, nothing grows. There is a simple truth in life: you cannot steer a parked car. No matter how much intelligence you have, if you are not moving, you cannot make adjustments. Action creates the opportunity to learn. Without action, everything remains theoretical and disconnected from reality. Another important aspect of execution is that it teaches lessons that no book can teach. You only discover real challenges when you start doing something. You only understand real problems when you are in the middle of them. And you only develop real solutions by facing real situations. This is why execution is the greatest teacher. People often underestimate how powerful small actions can be. They believe they need big moves or perfect strategies to succeed. But in reality, consistent small execution builds extraordinary results over time. It is not one massive action that creates success. It is repeated execution, day after day, that builds it. The danger of focusing only on intelligence is that it creates illusion without results. A person feels like they are progressing because they are learning, planning, and thinking. But in truth, nothing is changing in their real life. Execution is what converts potential into reality. Without it, potential remains unused. You must also understand that execution builds confidence. Every time you act and see results, even small ones, you strengthen your belief in yourself. Confidence is not something you think into existence. It is something you earn through action. The more you execute, the stronger your confidence becomes. On the other hand, avoiding execution weakens confidence. The longer you delay action, the more doubts begin to grow. You start questioning your ability, your timing, and your decisions. But those doubts are not solved by more thinking. They are solved by action. Success always favors those who move. It does not require perfection. It requires participation. You do not need to be the smartest person in the room. You need to be the one who is willing to act, learn, adjust, and continue moving forward despite uncertainty. In the real world, execution is everything. It transforms ideas into income, knowledge into results, and dreams into reality. Without it, even the greatest intelligence remains unused potential. With it, even average ideas can become extraordinary achievements. So the real question is not how much you know. The real question is how much of what you know are you actually using? Because in the end, execution, not intelligence, is what determines the quality of your life. Discipline is the quiet force behind every meaningful achievement in life. It is not loud, it is not exciting, and it is not always easy. But it is the bridge that connects what you know to what you actually become. Without discipline, ideas remain ideas and knowledge remains unused. With discipline, even simple knowledge becomes powerful enough to change a life completely. Many people misunderstand discipline. They think it is about strict rules or forcing yourself to do things you hate. But discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It is emotional control in action. It is choosing long-term results over short-term comfort. The truth is, most people already know what to do to improve their lives. They know they should wake up earlier, manage their money better, focus more, waste less time, and take consistent action toward their goals. The problem is not knowledge. The problem is consistency. And consistency is built only through discipline. Without discipline, knowledge becomes temporary motivation. You get inspired for a moment, you feel powerful for a day, and then slowly you return to old habits. This cycle repeats again and again, not because people lack intelligence, but because they lack structure in their behavior. Discipline is what creates that structure. Think about it this way, success is not built on occasional effort. It is built on daily habits, and habits are nothing more than disciplined actions repeated over time. What you repeatedly do becomes your life. So discipline is not just a skill. It is your entire direction. One of the biggest reasons people fail financially is inconsistency. They start something, stop it, restart it, and stop again. They follow motivation instead of discipline. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Discipline, however, remains steady even when motivation disappears. There will always be days when you don't feel like working. There will always be moments when giving up feels easier than continuing. That is exactly where discipline matters most. It is not tested on good days, it is tested on difficult days. And your financial future is shaped in those difficult moments. Discipline is what turns knowledge into results. You may know how to save money, but without discipline, you still spend it carelessly. You may know how to build a business, but without discipline, you never stay consistent long enough for it to grow. You may know how to improve your skills, but without discipline, you never practice enough to master them. There is a powerful truth here. Your life does not change when you learn something new. Your life changes when you consistently apply what you already know. And consistency is discipline in action. Successful people are not always more talented. They are more disciplined. They do what needs to be done whether they feel like it or not. They understand that emotions are temporary, but results are permanent. So they do not let feelings control their actions. Instead, they let discipline guide their behavior. Discipline also builds trust with yourself. Every time you say you will do something and you actually do it, you strengthen your self-respect. But every time you break your own promises, you weaken that trust. Over time, a lack of discipline leads to self-doubt. You stop believing in your own decisions because you have not followed through enough times. Another important aspect of discipline is delayed gratification. Life often presents two choices: immediate comfort or long-term reward. Discipline is choosing the long-term reward even when the short-term option is easier. This is where most people struggle. They want results now, not later. But success always belongs to those who can wait, work, and stay consistent. Every great achievement requires repetition, and repetition requires discipline. Whether it is building a business, developing a skill, or improving your finances, nothing grows without repeated effort. One good day does not change your life. A pattern of good days does. Discipline also removes chaos from life. Without discipline, your actions are scattered. You start many things but finish few. You feel busy but not productive. But when discipline enters your life, it creates structure. It gives your time direction. It helps you focus on what truly matters instead of reacting to distractions. Many people think success is about big breakthroughs. But in reality, success is built in small, disciplined actions repeated over time. Waking up on time, working consistently, managing distractions, sticking to your plan. These small things look simple, but they create massive results when done consistently. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is not the absence of challenges. Both face difficulties. The difference is how they respond to those difficulties. Disciplined people stay consistent even when things are not going well. Undisciplined people quit or become inconsistent when problems appear. Discipline is also a form of self-leadership. If you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead anything else. You cannot manage money, business, or responsibilities effectively if you cannot manage your own habits and impulses. Self-control is the foundation of every other form of control in life. And here is something important to understand. Discipline is not built overnight. It is developed through small daily decisions. Every time you choose effort over laziness, focus over distraction, and responsibility over avoidance, you strengthen your discipline. At first, it feels difficult. But over time, discipline becomes easier because it becomes a habit. What once required effort eventually becomes part of your identity. You stop forcing yourself and start becoming the type of person who naturally follows through. In the end, discipline is what transforms knowledge into wealth, ideas into reality, and potential into success. Without it, everything remains incomplete. With it, even simple actions can build an extraordinary life.